By noon, Chapel Ward had become a small government with bad furniture. Helena claimed the altar steps as command space. Dorothy Bell took the left side for medical triage, which meant the left side became a kingdom of bandages, saline bags, pain complaints, and people being told that no, shock was not a personality. Owen organized supplies with the grim competence of a man who had found one daughter and learned exactly how many other people had lost theirs. Mara slept for 17 minutes in a chair, woke up angry, and went back to healing people with fire. Elias drew maps on the chapel floor with surgical tape.
This is not to scale.
Tyler looked down at the taped hallways.
Is that why the cafeteria is the size of an ambulance?
The cafeteria has emotional weight.
Kay handed Elias another strip of tape.
Ignore him, he gets poetic when concussed.
I am not concussed.
Dorothy Bell shouted from triage.
He is passably concussed.
That is not a diagnosis.
It is a warning.
The map mattered. The safe zone had 3 entrances, 2 weak interior corridors, 1 service route, a storage closet that smelled like old hymnals, and too many people who believed a barricade was any object placed in front of a door with optimism. Noah's blessing had improved the zone, but it had also changed behavior. People stared at him, some with awe, some with hope, some with fear sharp enough to become anger. June sat near the medical area with Noah wrapped against her chest. Helena had placed 2 volunteers nearby, both facing outward as promised. That geometry had become a rule faster than anyone admitted. Face the danger, not the child. Elias saw people correct themselves. A glance lingered on Noah too long, then slid away. Someone started to whisper and stopped when Dorothy looked at them. A teenage boy crossed himself every time the baby moved. A woman with a broken wrist asked whether touching Noah would make the safe zone stronger. Kay said no before June had to. The woman apologized. Too loudly. Apologies could become accusations if repeated in public long enough. Elias added 3 strips of tape to the map and pretended he was not watching the room. Field raid made pretending difficult.
Participants 63 within refuge. Morale unstable but improved. Primary stressors: food, medical scarcity, hostile convergence, blessed presence, leadership legitimacy. Potential fracture points: family groups, resource hoarding, religious interpretation, external offers.
External offers.
The system did not answer. It rarely answered the questions he wanted. It preferred being ominous in installments. The leather jacket man from the water table spoke first.
We should move the baby somewhere else.
The chapel went quiet in pieces. Conversation stopped near the altar. Then triage. Then the supply table. June did not look up. Helena did.
Explain.
The man folded his arms. His name, according to Dorothy's intake list, was Grant Mullen. Elias remembered him as the person who had counted water bottles like everyone else, was a thief waiting for permission.
You saw the message. He attracts hostiles. We have kids here, elderly, injured. Why should everyone die for one baby?
Kay stood. Mara stood faster. Elias stayed crouched by the map because Field Reed was already turning the room into a diagram of possible violence.
Grant Mullen, fear-driven challenge, low support but contagious. June Bell, shock, protective freeze. Helena Ward, authority response pending. Mara Vale, immediate escalation risk. Owen Price, protective alignment, potential physical intervention. Laura Price, exhausted, watching exits.
Noah strengthens the safe zone.
Grant rounded on him.
And paints a target on it.
Yes.
That answer stole some of his momentum. People expected arguments to choose a side and polish it until it reflected morality. Elias did not have that luxury. The apocalypse had a habit of making both bad options true. He stood slowly.
Both are true. Without him, Chapel Ward is weaker. With him, Sunset gets worse. Sending him away does not remove the danger. It gives the trial a blessed infant on the move.
Not our problem then.
Mara's hand ignited. The fire was small. It did not need to be large. Everyone remembered what her hands could do.
Extinguish.
Mara did not. Grant took half a step back and tried to turn it into pasture.
See, this is what I mean. You people made a decision for everyone.
No, the system made a threat to everyone. We are deciding whether to become worse because of it.
Easy to say from the altar.
Very little about this altar is easy.
June looked up at last. Her face was pale in the candlelight. Noah slept against her, one tiny fist tucked under his chin like he had opinions about none of them.
My son is not a supply crate.
Her voice was soft. It carried her.
I am not asking you to die for him. I am asking you not to throw him into a hallway because monsters understand his name.
No one moved. Then Priya, the water girl, stepped beside June.
I vote he stays.
This is not a vote.
You made it once.
Tyler stood next. He wobbled slightly and pretended he had meant to.
Same.
Dorothy called from triage.
He stays.
Owen stepped beside Laura. Laura raised one hand. Then a man with a bandaged scalp. Then a cafeteria worker. Then a woman holding the hand of a boy who had not spoken since dawn. One by one, people shifted. Not everyone. Enough. Helena looked at Grant.
Decision made.
Grant's jaw worked. For a moment, Elias thought he would say something useful. Instead, Grant spat on the floor and walked away. The sound was tiny. The insult was not. Field raid marked him.
Resentment unresolved.
Useful, Elias thought. Horrible but useful. Helena did not let the room exhale too long.
We need sunset roles. Anyone who can stand gets assigned. Anyone who cannot stand gets a whistle, a flashlight, or a job counting supplies. Fear is not an exemption from usefulness.
That helped. Orders gave fear a place to stand. Elias returned to the map. The 3 entrances bothered him. The main chapel doors were strongest because the warden mark burned above them. The side corridor toward administration had 2 turns and bad sightlines. The service entrance near the old choir room had a narrow approach, which was good, but a cracked window, which was not.
We need layers.
Helena crouched beside him. For a woman who had just stared down the beginnings of a mob, she looked irritatingly composed.
Doc.
Elias pointed with a roll of tape.
First layer, noise traps outside the safe zone, not at the boundary. We need warning before contact. Second layer, furniture barricades that funnel, not block. Blocking fails when people panic. Funnel gives Mara fire lanes. Third layer, interior retreat line around the front pews. If the boundary gets pressured, June and the non-combatants move there.
Send Noah.
Noah moves only once.
Helena's eyes narrowed.
Explain.
If we keep shifting him around, people start treating him like a token. Put him in one defended place with his mother. Everyone knows the rule. Everyone faces outward.
Helena looked at June. June had heard every word. She gave a small nod.
Good, write it.
Onwards.
Kay handed him a clipboard. Elias stared at her.
Do you produce office supplies when frightened?
It is my class feature.
You do not have a class feature.
Then explain the clipboard.
He could not. He wrote rules for Dawnheart defense. 1. Noah Bell and June Bell remain together. 2. No forced relocation. 3. Guards face outward. 4. Anyone arguing near the baby is reassigned to latrine duty. Helena read the last line.
Not official.
Emotionally official.
She almost smiled. The radio crackled before she could say more. Not Mara's belt this time. The chapel radio on the altar. It had been silent for hours, except for internal check-ins and static that sounded too much like breathing. Now it spoke with a clean signal.
Chapel Ward Refuge, this is Bellweather Museum Safe Zone. We see your beacon changed. Confirm blessed presence.
Every head turned toward the radio. June's arms tightened around Noah. Grant stopped walking. Elias looked at the system map that did not exist and suddenly hated the phrase external offers. Helena lifted the radio.
This is Chapel Ward. Identify authority.
The response came quickly. Male voice, educated, calm, too calm to be harmless.
Director Adrian Sloane, Bellweather Museum Safe Zone. Grade E73 survivors. We have food stores, armed security, reinforced stone construction, and an established perimeter. We can offer protection.
Helena's thumb rested on the transmit button.
Protection in exchange for what?
A pause. Just long enough to pretend offense.
For cooperation.
There it is.
Our observers registered a Dawnheart beacon entering your refuge. Congratulations. That blessing is rare and strategically significant. It should be housed where it can do the greatest good.
June closed her eyes. Elias watched Grant. Grant watched the radio like it had become a door.
Noah Bell is not available for transfer.
Sloane's voice remained smooth.
You have identified him publicly, then.
No one spoke. Elias felt the trap a second late, which was both personally and professionally annoying. Helena's expression did not change.
We have identified that your proposal is rejected.
Warden Ward, may I be frank?
You may be brief.
Chapel Ward is a hospital chapel with improvised barricades. Bellweather was built to preserve priceless objects through fire, flood, and civil unrest. Stone walls, security shutters, emergency generators, a basement archive with independent climate control. We are better suited to protect a blessed participant.
Children are not objects.
No, they are responsibilities.
The line hissed softly.
And responsibility requires capacity.
That landed. Elias hated that it landed. So did half the room. People looked at the chapel walls, the beds, the stained sheets, the snack boxes under the pulpit. They looked at Mara's burned sleeves and Dorothy's exhausted face. They looked at the barricade that was mostly furniture and prayer. Then they looked at June.
Ask what they offer.
Helena did not look at him. Sloane heard anyway.
We can send an escort team before sunset. 6 armed participants, 2 with ranged skills, 1 defensive barrier class. In exchange, the Dawnheart child and his mother relocate to Bellweather until the current trial phase stabilizes.
No.
It was not loud enough for the radio. It was loud enough for everyone who mattered. Kay moved closer to her. Owen moved without being asked. Mara's fire came back in a thin line around her fingers.
No.
Sloane exhaled almost kindly.
Then at least allow our team to inspect your defenses.
No.
You refuse assistance.
I refuse access.
That may be unwise.
The chapel temperature seemed to drop. Elias opened field red.
Sloane, external authority, resource leverage, information probe, possible acquisition intent. Bellweather Museum, grade E safe zone, unknown leadership structure, unknown casualty rate, potential ally, potential hostile. Risk, internal dissent, may align with external transfer offer.
There it was. Not an attack on the walls. An attack on the room. Elias took the radio gently from Helena. She let him. That surprised him enough to make him careful.
Director Sloane, this is Elias Van.
And your role?
Currently tape cartographer.
Kay closed her eyes. Sloane paused.
I beg your pardon.
I am mapping defensive lines, which means I have a practical question. If Bellweather is secure enough to house Noah, why are you monitoring weaker safe zones instead of reinforcing your own perimeter before sunset?
Silence. Not static. Calculation. Then Sloane laughed softly.
You are the delay user.
Every conversation in Chapel Ward stopped again. Elias did not look at anyone.
News travels.
Systems do.
What does Bellweather know about my skill?
Only that a participant with a direct action delay assisted in defeating a threat level 5 near St. Ash Maternity. That caught attention.
How?
Sloane answered as if he had heard her.
High-risk tactical kills are not private to ranking systems forever.
Blue-white text flickered in Elias' vision.
Regional notice delayed. Ranking visibility threshold approaching.
Lovely.
Sloane's voice warmed by a fraction.
Mr. Venn, Bellweather does not need to be your enemy. Bring the child, the mother, and your core team. We can offer beds, food, walls, and information. Chapel Ward can remain a satellite refuge under our coordination.
Helena's eyes hardened. Satellite refuge. There were gentle ways to say subordinate. Sloane had chosen one. Grant spoke from the aisle.
Maybe that is better.
No one looked at him first. That made it worse. He stepped forward.
Maybe pretending this chapel can survive is pride. Maybe someone with walls should be in charge.
June's face closed. Helena turned slowly. Elias saw 3 fights trying to be born at once. Grant versus Helena. June versus the room. Chapel Ward versus Bellweather Museum. He also saw the clock.
Sunset forecast, 8 hours 52 minutes.
The trial did not care who won the argument. It only cared how much time the argument ate. Elias raised the radio.
Director Sloane, Chapel Ward will not transfer Noah Bell. We will accept information, trade terms, and non-intrusive coordination. No escort team enters our refuge without Helena Ward's invitation.
You speak for the warden.
Elias looked at Helena.
He does for this sentence.
That felt like being handed a lit match and a legal document. Elias continued.
If you want an alliance, send information first. Monster movement, safe routes, what your observers saw when the beacon changed.
Sloane took 3 seconds to answer.
Reasonable.
Mara mouthed.
Liar.
We observed 3 convergent signatures shifting towards St. Ash from the east, north, and below street level. 1 aerial, 1 pack, 1 large solitary entity. Arrival windows begin after sunset.
The room absorbed that badly. Below street level was the phrase that did the most damage. Hospitals had basements.
Names.
Not confirmed.
Guess.
Another pause.
The aerial signature resembles a choir bat cluster.
Absolutely not.
The pack may be glass dogs. Avoid bright open corridors if they breach. They reflect movement.
Elias hated every noun in that sentence.
And the large solitary.
The radio hissed. When Sloane answered, the smoothness had thinned.
Something our system labels only as Museum Saint.
Mara looked up. Helena went still.
Why would something from your museum come here?
Sloane did not answer quickly enough. That was an answer. Helena took the radio back.
Director Sloane.
Warden Ward.
If one of your monsters arrives at my refuge, our next conversation changes.
Sloane's voice returned to polished calm.
Then let us hope it remains theoretical.
The signal cut. For a long moment, Chapel Ward listened to the absence. Then Tyler said,
I miss when the cafeteria was our biggest map problem.
No one laughed. Not quite. But a few people remembered how. Helena stepped onto the altar's lowest stair.
You heard the offer, you heard the threat under it. Chapel Ward remains Chapel Ward. Noah Bell and June Bell remain under our protection. Anyone who wants to leave may request escort to another refuge after sunset is survived.
After?
Helena looked at him.
Yes.
Convenient.
Alive people have more travel options.
Elias admired that one too. Kay handed him the clipboard again.
Write faster.
What are my writings?
Quirabet cluster, glass dogs, museum saint. Also, if I die because of a thing called a glass dog, I am filing a complaint.
With whom?
Everyone's.
Elias wrote. Outside the stained glass, daylight continued its slow retreat across the chapel floor. The golden boundary hummed softly around them. Noah stirred in his sleep. Across the room, Grant Mullen watched the radio. Field Reed marked the line between him and the altar.
Resentment unresolved. External influence possible.
Elias added one more item to the defense list. Not monsters, people. At sunset, they would have to defend Chapel Ward from both.